What's up, everybody? Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we gotta talk about a lot of crazy things. Valorant Champions just ended, and there's tons we gotta break down and talk about the compositions that are played, plus franchising, which is something that is just coming soon and is gonna have huge implications for the future of Valorant, and agent changes and buffs and nerfs, plus a new bundle that looks absolutely cracked. There's a ton we gotta talk about. But the GameLeap website's the best place to pop off, climb the ladder, and brag to your friends how you're just way better than them and built differently. Do yourself a favor and go check it out right now in the links down below. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about is Valorant Champions. And Valorant Champions was insane. It reached a peak of 1.5 million viewers collectively, and that's insane. Record-breaking numbers for Valorant, and the Valorant esport is alive, well, and it's gonna keep growing. If you haven't been watching the esport, what are you freaking doing, man? Hop on that right now. But the reason that esports is so good for the game is the longer the esport lives and the bigger it becomes, the more and more resources can be put into Valorant, and the longer the game will last. And Valorant is looking like it's gonna far surpass that 5-year minimum updates thing that they put in at the very beginning of the game. And that's what they basically pledged to when the game came out, that they would do updates for 5 years. It's looking like Valorant is here to stay. It ain't going anywhere, and it's only getting bigger. But the big thing that's coming next is franchising. And for those of you who don't know what franchising is, let me give you a TLDR. Basically, Valorant is going big. They are putting a lot of money and investment into it, and they're setting up major locations, getting huge investors involved to blow up the esport even further, and everyone wants to get into franchising. But there are limited spots for every single region. A lot of your favorite teams are going to be in franchising, but some might miss the cut. For instance, there have even been speculations that TSM wants to buy out the Optic roster. If, let's say, hypothetically, Optic doesn't get into franchising, the players are still cracked and they want to enter into the tier 1 scene. In addition to that, the tier 2 is a way to actually break into it, where Riot is actually putting in place a way for you to grind up from the in-game tournament client into tier 2, where you battle your way into a spot that opens up into the main league. And inside the main league, there's all these perks, guaranteed salaries and benefits and sponsorships, and it's like the main stages, right? It's where every player wants to end up in. So we're gonna have these crazy events, crazy locations, big tournaments, physical tournament locations, international tournaments, and we're gonna have a legitimate path to pro that is built throughout the in-game into participating in these events. But it's a scary time where a lot of teams might not make it in. Some of your favorite players might not make it in, and there's gonna be a lot of free agents, and it's gonna be kind of the Wild West again for Valorant esports. But it's pretty exciting too. So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. But let me know down below, what team is your favorite? What team do you hope make it into franchising? Let me know down below. And now, before we move on to post-champions and all of the changes that could happen to balance, let's talk about the bundle that just actually was dropped not too long ago. The Chrono Void bundle was revealed, and this bundle is freaking insane. Like, I don't typically get that hyped about bundles, but Jesus Christ, the metallic sounds, the melee, oh my God. Like, I am an active hater of the Valorant cosmetic system. I'm sorry, Riot. I love you, okay? I love you guys. Don't blacklist me, or, you know, what they do these days in esports. But, you know, I have been anti-skin, you know, for the most part. But when Riot releases skins that are this damn cool, and I play your game all the goddamn time, I gotta get it. Like, come on. It's so sick. But let me know what you feel about it down below. Now, as you know, when big tournaments happen, Riot actually postpones a lot of changes. They don't want things to be dramatically different from the live service to the competitive game, because it would be very strange for somebody to be meta on the live game and the people playing on screen are doing something completely different. That being said, as we leave Champions, we have to look forward to the next patch that's coming just around the corner. And we already know a lot of the changes that Riot have already proposed into the game. We know that chamber nerfs are coming. I know a lot of you say, hey, Sentinel should just be buffed instead. We don't need more chamber nerfs. Regardless, Riot know that chamber is just way too picked, even post nerfs to champions, and they do want to touch him up in some way. It might not be big nerfs, but they do want to hit him again, so definitely keep that in mind. On top of that, Sentinel buffs are coming as well. Characters like Cypher are on that radar to get buffed, And it's probably a character that they're going to be looking at for 5.06. So keep that in mind as well. While yes, maybe you aren't that happy that Chamber's getting more nerfs, Sentinels are going to get buffed as well. And hopefully we'll end up in a situation where the Sentinel role is not only more clearly defined, but also it's more competitive within the characters themselves inside the role. And we also know that Fade nerfs are coming as well. They have acknowledged that Fade is too powerful at doing, very specific things, and what they specifically referenced was the fact that she could clear out corners too easily with her dog, effectively meaning she could take space too easily. They're probably going to make it so the dog is a little bit harder to control or bend, or maybe it doesn't go on as long. I think that these are things that they would do to Fade. Even if they did all those things, Fade would still be very powerful. And I know a lot of people will probably disagree, but I do think that Fade is probably a character that was deserving of some nerfs, mainly because she is insane. Like, she is one of the most powerful characters in the game, and I think anyone who has played Fade for a substantial amount of time would agree with me. I know you don't want to agree with the nerfs, but you do agree that Fade is ridiculously powerful. And specifically the fact that you can basically punish people very easily for just occupying space with your dog is, I think, a little bit too strong, and that's what they said that they're looking at in the future. Now, there are some characters that we probably will not see buffed, even though they don't see that much play at the pro level. We won't see Phoenix buffed because they said that Phoenix is a character that is in the top 3% of win rates across ranks, even in the highest rank. So Phoenix is in a safe spot. We saw some experimentation with him at Champions. Most likely, he is going to remain how he is right now. On top of that, characters like Yoru, who saw almost no pick rate at Champions, he's a character that Riot says has some of the highest win rate when players master him at the highest level in Radiant and Immortal. So because he's a high skill ceiling character that seems to be healthy in that regard, he's probably not going to get touched as well. Now, they did mention that KO has one of the worst pick rates, period. And they actually are looking into potentially changing some things about KO to make him easier for lower ranked players to use him and utilize his abilities. Because right now, while he's completely dominant in pro play, he has a very low win rate, even in high ranks in ranked play, which is not where they want to have him. Even though players think he's very strong, the stats show he is not winning all that much. Now, the last thing that we do have to mention is the absurd differential between the pick rate in the Vandal and the Phantom. At Champions, the Vandal had a 3x pick rate compared to the Phantom, meaning that the gun is just completely outperforming the Phantom. And a lot of players are split on what to do. Some players say the Phantom is fine in its current state. Other players want to see small buffs to the Phantom so that they can actually compete better. And other players are completely okay with there being a differential in these pick rates at pro play because it's not going to affect ranked nearly as much, nor does it matter. But I really want to pass the question off to you. What agents do you think need buffs or nerfs going forward? And what weapons do you think need changed going forward? And of course, I forgot to mention, the Stinger is primed to get a buff, but after watching that ending freaking in Champions with the Stinger just popping off like crazy, the Frenzy popping off like crazy, I don't think the Stinger needs a buff, and a lot of pros are even asking for Frenzy nerfs. So let me know what you think about all that. I know this is a lot of news to pack on at the very end, but the GameLeap website is the best place to pop off, dominate, and climb. Tips, tricks, guides, and anything that you need to improve. We have it on the GameLeap website, so what are you waiting for? Go check it out right now in the links down below.